Grape Discovery Center is the official visitor center for the New York State Lake Erie Concord Grape Belt Heritage Area. Supporting and promoting the grape industry, visit us and learn about grape growing history in the Lake Erie region. Shop for grapey gifts, taste local wine in a Concord vineyard. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Channel 5 studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Channel 5. Continuing the traditions of Senior Report, we are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week, countywide, from 9 to 10 a.m. Join us by calling in live, emailing us, or checking out our social media. And now, from the Channel 5 studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Doc Hamels and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. We got a really good show in store for you, as we always do, but this one is particularly relevant, as you will find out real soon once we get through the first part of today's show. So I encourage you to sit back, grab something to drink or eat, or pull up your breakfast tray. I don't care. If you're watching this later in the week, that's okay, but remember, you can't call in and ask a question unless you're watching right now live. And if you do want to call in, if you have a question for me or my guest, who will be coming on shortly, give us a call at 753-5225. You can email us, you can Twitter us, you can send a message through the social media, and we'll get your question to me or my guest. You can come to the studio with a question on a piece of paper. They'll hand it to me, and I'll ask the question, whatever. This is your show, it's your information. It's all about Chautauqua County and what's cool and good and things for you to know about here, right where we live. Want to say also good afternoon to our friends in Jamestown and WRFA 107.9, low power to the people. So glad you could join us here Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, and we're so glad that we're be able to again be with you this afternoon. So good morning and good afternoon, and we're going to get started right into what I have to talk about today. Well, I hope you're enjoying our extended summer. I'm not sure if it's Indian summer or if we blew right through it or if it's still coming up. I kind of lost track of that. Usually Indian summer, I guess, is sometime in October, but I'm not sure. This has been a really nice extension of summer. And I just got the official. It comes after the first frost. Did you say or after the last snow? Oh my gosh. First snow. Oh, not the last snow. I was being positive here. All right, so that's from my engineer, Jeff Zook. He's the expert on Indian summer. So anyways, that's still coming up. But we've had some beautiful weather. Last night we had the windows open still. I think it was still in the 60s and really enjoying it. So I hope you're enjoying the fall foliage here in Chautauqua County or in the area. It's really starting to get quite nice, and I love the color, especially in the morning when the sun's hitting it just on just a certain angle. It just makes the whole woods like come alive. Okay, that being said, I want to also bring attention to the, I can never do this right because I'm backwards here with TV. We have our pink bow, and that reminds me when I see that this is October and that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And every year we talk about this through the month of October, and every year I seem to be able to share or know more and more people that have had experiences with breast cancer, or that they've had some close calls, or they have questions. And so ladies and gentlemen, and this was something I learned along the line, and gentlemen, we need to take care of ourselves. And if in any way, shape, or form you have any concerns, you need to get checked out. And I know that many of your healthcare centers and hospitals are running special programs and special attention to this throughout the month. So my good friends over at Westfield Memorial Hospital want me to remind you that they are open and ready to sign you up, bring you in. It's real easy to do over there for a mammography, and they tell me that they've got some new equipment and they do three-dimensional 3D mammographies now, and that's really cool because it kind of looks at it in all different ways than the old style. So anyways, regardless of where you go, get it done. In my own personal family, we've had some cancer situations, and luckily it was caught early on, and all is well. Other folks I know over the years, I'm not going to name names, but they wait and they wait and they fret and they wait and then they worry. Well, maybe it's cancer. What should I do? I'll think about it. Don't wait. Get over there and get to a doctor or a clinic and get it checked out. It doesn't get better, all right? You got to get taken care of. And with today's technology and medicines and techniques and procedures, this could be something that's quick and easy and be done with. And if it's more than that, they'll help you along the way as well. So please check it out. And that goes with anything, whether it's skin cancer or you have other kinds of issues. Don't wait. All right. Well, just kind of a fun thing to share with you. I don't know how it is out in your gardens, but some years you have way too many tomatoes, too many zucchinis, whatever. This year, my bumper crop was two things, was pears. Brought a bunch here. I still have them. They're still on the tree. I don't know, hundreds of them on one tree. It was like bonanza year for pears. And then I had two trees I have that have these little purple plums. And so I thought, what are these? And so someone told me they were German prunes or something like that. I'm going, prunes. Now I got like thousands of these prunes. What do I do with them? So I set up a screen. I put maybe about 50 of these little plum prune thingies out on the screen, covered up with glass. And with all the warm weather we've had for the last couple of weeks, they just shriveled up like they're big raisins. Guess what? I now have officially dried prunes, and they're not quite as sweet as you might find in the supermarket, but they're pretty close. So if you're interested in doing dehydration or other things, get a book out. It's really fun to do some of these things in our home gardens and enjoy the things that we grow. Hey, if you're in Chautauqua County and you're interested in what's going on, there's a lot going on. Lots of wine festivals and fall festivals, and I don't have everything that's going on, but I got a lot of stuff that is happening that I do want to share with you. So let's leave the prunes alone and let's move on to Jamestown over my friends over in Infinity. Now, anytime you're interested in Infinity, they have a phone number, and it's 664-0991 if you have any questions about what I'm going to tell you next. They have a new student orientation, and they rotate these classes throughout the year. Music, art, dance, and theater students of all levels are welcome to enroll in private and group lessons. The Infinity Visual and Performing Arts Center will now hold student orientation and intake session on October 19th. Okay, that's a Thursday. If you're interested, give them a call at that number, 664-0991, to register for a session and reserve your spot as soon as possible. Students may also register online at Infinity Performing Arts, that's all one word, infinityperformingarts.org, to be contacted for an orientation slot. Orientation sessions last about 30 minutes, including a tour of the facility and opportunities that they have there, as well as meeting the staff. Okay, so that's a lot of fun. And if you have a young person that seems to be a budding whatever, musician, dancer, actor, get their career started. And it doesn't even have to be a career. It could be just a lot of fun. And I've been a musician all my life, and I was reading just recently my baby book that I found up in my dad's attic. We're cleaning it out lately. And, they say spoke at 4 months, walked at 10 months. I saw something, Justin, you're not going to believe this. I know it's going to be hard to believe. My mother noted that I started singing at 3 months old. I was destined to be a musician. I never ever heard of a baby singing at 3 months old. I must be a prodigy. Okay, Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation grants and scholarships. Okay, we mentioned this a little bit, and there is a workshop coming up this week. So first of all, there's money available for small organizations, large organizations, whatever, groups, not-for-profits, 501c3 groups, you know who you are. And with monies drying up everywhere around us, it seems, this might be an opportunity for you to tap into some money that is available through the foundation. So they have a grant writing workshop that's going to be offered October 10th from 9 to 11 a.m. This workshop is designed to arm nonprofits with the fundamentals of grant writing, and it's free to all nonprofits, charitable organizations, and municipalities wishing to submit grant proposals to funding sources. The Patterson Library is hosting this training in their Octagon Gallery, just down the road over in Westfield on Portage Street. Professional grant writer Sherry Lance will lead the workshop, providing practical tips and strategies for writing each component of a grant application. A lot of people don't realize that there are certain parts to a grant, and maybe when you've done some in the past, you didn't realize you needed to have a narrative, or you didn't realize you needed to have a budget, and she'll help you figure that all out. I've had good experience with the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, as well as the foundation in Jamestown, and for instance, the Northern Community Foundation supplied some funding for our Veterans Project over in Ripley recently. They give out scholarships and grants, so check it out. Okay, Holiday Arts and Crafts in October. We got a slide for this, number 15, Jeff. There we go. See how organized we are? I hope you're impressed. Hartfield Ladies Auxiliary, today, Holiday Arts and Crafts. It's upon us already. It's going to be today, starting right now, right this minute. It's on till 3 o'clock at the Hartfield Fire Hall on Elmwood Road. There's going to be a Chinese auction, going to be at 3 p.m., and a 50-50 drawing held on November 18th. Okay, so that's coming up right now. So if you're interested, after you watch the show, get in your car and go to the Holiday Craft and Arts event at the Hartfield Fire Hall. Okay? Last night, my wife made me do something that I really didn't want to do. We were at one of those big box stores, and I was standing on the gray tile, and she was on the white tile. And she kept motioning me to come over, and I said no. And she said, get over here. I said no. And I was in the Halloween section. She was in the next holiday section. There's just something about looking at Christmas trees on October 6th I just couldn't do. Like a good husband, I walked over onto the white tile. All right, we have something going on today at Crossroads, and that's going to start at 11 o'clock. Crossroads is a great place over in Westfield. This is going to be, they're going to host its annual chili and soup cook-off, and that's till 2 o'clock. So from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. this afternoon. This year, the Westfield American Legion will receive all the proceeds. The Westfield Legion has been busy preparing for its move to the new Main Street location. I didn't know that. They are highly excited about the change in facilities and look forward to continuing to serve the veterans and veteran families of Westfield and the surrounding areas. The Ladies Auxiliary and other volunteers will be on site at Crossroads for the chili cook-off with a Chinese auction, awards for the best tasting chilies and soups, and a whole lot more. We urge you to come out and support this great cause. It's free to participate in the cook-off, and obviously there's still time. Now, just in case you have a last-minute question, you can give Blanche a call at 269-9024. All right, chili cook-off, Crossroads today, over up there in Westfield. Going on to page 2. The Rotary Gold Rush, near and dear to my heart. The Westfield Mayville Rotary Club, my home club, is holding its annual Gold Rush. And what this is you buy a ticket for $30. All right. Oh, what do you get for $30? You get a chicken and rib barbecue dinner, salad right through to dessert and soft drinks. All right. And then you get the opportunity to win $1,000. Now, there's smaller prizes all along the way. They draw every single prize, every single ticket, and like every 10th ticket that's drawn, you get a prize. Sometimes it's 50, 20, 10, 100, whatever, and then they work it right up to the final drawing of $1,000. I have emceed this probably for the last 5 years, and every year I give away $1,000. So it's a lot of fun. If you're interested, give Linda Dunn a call at 326-3012. You can see me. You can see any other Rotarian in the Westfield, Mayville region, and we encourage you to come on out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be held at Easton Hall starting at 6 o'clock. All right, this is a new one. Election inspectors are needed. Who knew? All right, they're needed for the upcoming general election. There will be 3 training sessions. All right, so for those of you on the radio, I got to read this for you. Those on TV can read it for yourselves. There's going to be one on October 12th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Carnahan Theater at JCC. That's in Jamestown. October 14th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at St. Mary's Church in Mayville, right here in Mayville. And then October 16th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the Training Center at JCC Dunkirk. You can check it out more if you need more information at Vote Chautauqua, all one word, votechautauqua.com. And election inspectors must be registered as either a Democrat or Republican to participate. You contact the Board of Elections at 753-4580 for more information. Okay? And let's see here. They really need your help, and these folks work long hours on that day, but it helps keep everything on the up and up, and they're trained to make sure that the elections are tried and true. Okay? So, if you're more interested, give them a call. All right, here's a fun one. Magazine and Munchies program returns with the Girl Scouts. The holidays are fast approaching, and local Girl Scouts have just the right treat. Girl Scouts across western New York will increase their financial literacy and use digital platforms to engage customers to purchase candy and nut products, along with magazines starting September 20th through October 28th. All right, the community can support a local Girl Scout when they stock up on popular items like, oh boy, here we go, dark chocolate mint penguins. Sounds good. Here's my favorite, because I can't say it. Dulce de leche owls. Who comes up with these names? English butter toffee. Peanut butter bears. Dark chocolate caramel caps with sea salt. Chocolate covered raisins. Yum. Fruit slices and new items. Now this one I can't get my head around. I cannot do this. Dill pickled peanuts. Salt and, for those of you on the radio, I was shaking my head. And pepper cashew halves. A whole lot more. Hey, something for everybody. A list of items can be found on their website, gswny.org. So that'd be like Girl Scouts, Western New York, gswny.org. For non-edible treat, Girl Scouts offer magazines and so forth. And so that's coming up this season. Okay, my buddies over at the Ripley Rod and Gun Club. They're hosting an air rifle match mid-October. I don't have the exact date for that one, but you can always give them a call over there. And on November 5, weather permitting, starting at 9 a.m. And there will also be a fall turkey shoot on November 5 and the 12th, starting at noon. And for more information, go to Facebook and look up Ripley Rod and Gun Club. Just Ripley Rod and Gun. No club on it. All right. Then we have one of those mark your calendars. We're going to announce just a little bit. But if you are a model train enthusiast, my son was, okay. Wow, look at that. There's going to be a special event. The Lakeshore Model Railroad Association has assembled to promote all-scale hobby of model railroading for the Western New York and the Northwest Pennsylvania Lakeshore area. It's their mission to educate and show first-hand basic techniques into the digital era and aspects of this incredible world-known hobby. They market themselves to inspire youth and adults equally to enjoy and become involved in the art of model railroading. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these things, but it baffles the mind how they put these things together, and it's just like a miniature world. So we'll talk more about this, but it's coming up on Saturday, December 2, and it will be, hang on, the Lakeshore, it's going to be at the, wait a minute. A hush goes over the room. The Eastminster Presbyterian Church at 2320 East Lake Road, Erie, Pennsylvania. I had to stop and look because there's a lot of other stuff on this particular press release. So that's coming up December 2nd. Then I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 mark your calendars for some fun things that are coming up. I know this is way down the road, but we'll mention it from time to time. April 14th, I know it's down the road, but Rusty Bova from Westfield, he's going to be doing a special concert called A Tribute to Bill Ross, and he asked me to kind of mention that, and we'll do that maybe one more time, then we'll start again after the new year. But mark your calendars. That's going to be over with the Lakeshore Center for the Arts. Then, moving right along to another situation that we don't have a slide for, what do they call that? They're going to do another encore presentation of Murder on the Petulant Express. This is going to be from the Ripley Library Group, the actors that are put on the show. And I'm part of that show, and it's going to be on December 2nd at Quincy Cellars, and we'll tell you more about that as I find out more information. But that was just announced. And then, in its third year, It's a Wonderful Life will be presented by the Lakeshore Center for the Arts at the First Presbyterian Church in Westfield on December 15th, and I will return in my role as Freddie Fillmore, the host of the show, and I have 5 other voices that I do, including the drunk Uncle Billy. So that'll be coming up December 15th. So also, this is election season we mentioned, and so let's pop up those slides. We have today, after today's show, starting at noon, we're going to have interviews, and I will be interviewing some folks that want to run for public office. And so this is a public service to all of you to hear and watch and learn about these candidates. So 12 p.m., Jerry Ann Samora is running for District 8 County Legislature. 1 o'clock, Mike Ferguson will be here. He's running for County Executive. John Hemmer from Westfield will be running once again for District 19 as a county legislator. And then next week, we're going to do the same thing, different people, and we're going to have at 12 o'clock next week, Laurel Adams, Chautauqua County Legislative candidate for District 19, Leanne Lazzaroni, who is running for County Clerk, George Borrello, who's running for Chautauqua County Executive, and Ella Ames, who will be running for Legislature District 18. Okay, so we've got that coming up. We're going to take a break. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit, and then we're going to get right to my guest who's sitting in the wings waiting to come on. So watch this, and we'll be right back.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Well, you don't have to go very far today in the newspapers, television, social media to see what's going on in the world. I had this show planned some time ago, and it couldn't be more timely. I want to welcome and introduce Edward Brooks, who's the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for Westfield Memorial Hospital, part of the Allegheny Health Network. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning.
So we finally got you on TV. I know you were so excited to be here. Ed, I thank you for coming on, and in light of what is going on, we're going to get to the heart of emergency preparedness and so on. But before we get deep into the subject, I always like to have people listening and watching today to know a little bit about who Ed is and where you come from and that sort of thing. So can you give us a quick bio?
I grew up in Bust-Eye. I went on to JCC in SUNY Fredonia and received my degree in medical technology. Worked about 20 years in Jamestown on the night shift as a medical technologist. And about 6.5 years ago, I came up to Westfield as a laboratory manager.
What does a medical technologist do?
We test mainly blood, but any kind of fluid that comes out of your body.
I thought that was called a phlebotomist. Is that different?
Phlebotomist is the one that collects the samples.
Oh,
And the
so they
medical
give it to you.
technologist
Here,
tests the sample.
take this stuff here and do
Right.
something. Oh, okay.
So it requires a bachelor's degree and a year internship on top of that to be a medical technologist.
So you've been with Westfield Memorial Hospital for 6.5 years? you
Yes.
said? Okay. And you have some titles there, and I like to share them with the audience. I mentioned Emergency Preparedness Coordinator. That's one.
Correct.
And then I have Wound Clinic Safety Manager. What does that mean?
Well, the wound clinic is a clinic that we run. We've been running every Monday. We have a provider, LaTroy Navaroli, that comes up every Monday and provides wound care for a lot of people. For people, diabetics, people that have had injuries. We just got a new patient, somebody with shingles that's not healing up real well, and she does an awesome job. She's got quite a following all over the county, and even out of the county people come. And we've recently opened up Thursdays because we've had such a need for this service. So we're open every Monday and every Thursday now.
We did a quick little survey here, and I asked some folks if they ever heard of a wound clinic, and everybody kind of looked at me with a blank stare. I was in that boat not long ago, and if somebody did have need of the wound clinic, what do? Do they call it? Talk to their doctor?
They could talk to their doctor to get referred, and then call our scheduling line, which I believe is 793-2221.
Okay,
I'm
I
not
trust
100%
you.
sure, but I think so. and they can get set up. Normally, it's something people come at least for several weeks in a row,
Okay.
and they do an awesome job there. We're just putting on some new technology now. They do skin grafts. They
Ooh.
put on special casting that'll protect the wound so it can heal better. And we do some pretty recent advancements we can do right there at Westfield.
Now, people would say, well, I've been in the hospital, I've never seen a wound clinic. They won't, will they?
No, there are
Because it's
some
not in the hospital.
No, there are some that have inpatient wound clinics, some facilities, but around here, I mean, we're the only wound clinic that really does this full service in the county, inpatient or outpatient.
So the wound clinic actually is just outside of the hospital in a separate building, right?
It's just outside the hospital. There's a brick, we call it the cottage, out in front of the hospital. And there's a few different things that's used for, but now on Monday and Thursdays, it's right there on our campus, right in front of the hospital.
So if you're looking at the hospital straight on, and it's just to your left. is
Just
that
to the
right?
left. And there is a small parking lot just for that building.
And there's a handicap ramp there, I believe, for
Yes,
wheelchairs.
there is.
So it's a full service wound. Are there any other wound clinics in the county?
I do not believe so. There may be some providers that do a small bit of wound care, but not really a wound clinic.
So what's your job there?
I just kind of oversee, make sure they're getting what they need to do their job.
Sign off on the paperwork.
Sign off on the paperwork, advocate for them, and
Okay.
make sure that they get what they need.
Okay, so we talked about that title, and then you have a third title, lab manager. What does that mean?
Basically, oversee all the activities going on in the lab, make sure that we're in compliance with regulations, state and federal, that we're doing things right, we're getting the right results, and I like to get the right results in as quick as possible. We're very proud of how quickly we get results provided back to the providers, especially in the emergency room. Normally, it's a half hour or less from the time that the patient has their blood drawn that the results are back to the doctor so he can make a decision.
So this is inside the hospital.
This is inside the
There's a
hospital.
lab outside the hospital that's independent, correct?
That's the ACL lab, which is based out of Erie, and they draw the majority of the outpatients within the community. There are a few exceptions where we draw the outpatients, but for the most part, people should be going to ACL. There's a couple insurances that ACL doesn't participate with, so they can come to us. And if it's after hours, and if it's difficult for a person to get to the ACL lab before 3 p.m., we'll welcome them to come to us in the evening. But as a rule, they should go to ACL for their blood draw.
Okay, so then what you're here for today is primarily we're going to be talking about emergency preparedness. But I just got a note to back you up that the phone number for the wound clinic is 793-2210. I think you said that.
Well, I said the 2221. That's the scheduling line.
Oh,
If you call the wound clinic, if it's not Monday or Thursday, nobody will be there to answer.
all right, and then so if they want to talk to a person, it's 793-22221.
2221, yeah.
Okay, so right
And that's
on.
the person that schedules many procedures, not just wounds.
Okay, so
But-
thank you, Chris, for that. So we have our system here. All right, so emergency preparedness. I turn on the TV and I've seen at least 3 different situations that are taking place right now that's all emergencies.
Correct.
You got weather, fire, crime, all kinds of crazy stuff going on right now. What is your job here with the hospital and what do you do?
We try to make sure that we're ready for anything, whether it's a surge of patients, if it's a weather-related conditions that cause difficulties with people getting to our hospital or even our employees getting to the hospital. And just basically to make sure we have the policies and procedures in place and people are trained to react when something happens so that we can take care of the patients. I did here in Las Vegas, the hospitals out there, any patient that was brought there live was still alive as of 2 days after the event.
That's
and that says a
incredible.
lot.
That says-
And those hospitals, I'm sure, drilled.
500 people?
So if they got to the hospital, they survived, and that says a lot.
That's amazing. All right, let's start with policies because that kind of got my ear attention. I'm going like, why would you be worried about policies? What does policy do for somebody that's injured? I mean, so what?
So that everybody knows what their role is, and it is very structured when there is a disaster, whether it be the hospital, a government agency. We open up what's called an emergency operations center, and that's where the key people go, and that's when we pull out the policies, because in the heat of the moment, it's hard to make decisions or know what to do next sometimes because you've got so many things coming at you at once. So if you've got policies in place that if you're going to have, say, if it was something like this shooting, hopefully that never happens, but you'll get a lot of people descending on the hospital. So you have to have a policy. We're going to put family members in this area. We're going to put members of the press here. We have to have somebody that can speak to the members of the press and give out consistent information. You don't want to just have people stopped and have questions yelled at them, and you may have conflicting information. You could really upset some family members if the wrong things were
Which
said.
we see that all the time on TV. I mean, it's especially with the scope of Vegas. I mean, it's so huge. How do you control the communications? So, but in a smaller situation, I could see where you could kind of contain it. And
Right.
I mean, a lot of people will get upset for no good reason because of erroneous information. Or I could see where people will have a false sense of security when only to find out it was wrong and that it was tragic in the end. So
Right. So, I mean, you can probably tell when those people are in front of the microphone, they do have a script they're working off of.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll take some questions, but they don't elaborate a whole lot because they don't want to go off script and say something that isn't true.
So, not any particular situation, but who would be the spokesperson for the hospital, for instance?
It would maybe the administrator that's on duty,
Okay.
or we may designate someone else that we feel. I mean, we have
Within the
different-
policy, it kind of explains.
The policy will explain who it is, and you want to have somebody that has the time. You don't necessarily want to pull the administrator because they may be needed elsewhere.
Right. So you have like a chain of command.
We
then.
have a chain of command there.
Okay. So,
And we do try to do that by position because you do have turnover no matter where you work. And you don't want to say that Ed Brooks is going to be the one that does it, and then
Right.
I'm not there when it happens.
Right.
So you try to
the head
have
of the
title does it, not the person.
Interesting. So I'm assuming then you must have to update these from time to time?
Well, we have to have drills.
Oh,
So we try to have 2 drills a year.
so like a fire drill?
Kind of. I mean, we had 2 drills in the last 24 months. So you can think of like plan, do, check, act. You plan out what the drill is going to be. Last year we had one last November that was a winter storm event where it basically shut everything down. And that's not necessarily, you might think, how it would be for the hospital. Actually, sometimes it gets slower at the hospital because people can't get to it. But you have to house people that are there, whether it's staff or sometimes people from out of town. They see a hospital and think that's a safe place, so they may show up there. So you have to find a way to feed those people, give them linen so they can sleep. So we had the drill. It was called Wreck-It. It was carried out throughout New York State.
That was the thing you sent me, I remember.
Right. So we had a Wreck-It drill. And so we planned the drill, and then we had the drill. We made phone calls, and whenever we do it, it's clear it's a drill. We brought in 4 different patients of different concerns. One was a pregnant woman in labor. We had actors pretend like they were a family of 4 that didn't speak English. So we do different things that'll stress our system, because we don't have people that speak too many different languages, but we do have a language line at the hospital that we can use.
Well, when you think about it, people are coming up and down the thruway all the time that are visiting our country. That's easy. I mean, that's a strong possibility.
So then you do the drill, and then right afterwards you have what's called a hot wash. So you go over what worked in this scenario. Where was it lacking? We'll have evaluators that'll just kind of sit in the room and watch what we're doing. And at the end they'll say, well, you handled this well, but we think maybe this needed to be handled better. So we kind of critique ourselves. And then that's when we go back and we look at the policy, and we'll change the policy. And then we had a second drill in February of this year that was a large flu outbreak. So it was a different twist, but it was that we were having a number of people present to our emergency room with a new flu, like not a swine flu, but just a new flu
strain that you hadn't been
and we had been
with.
getting warnings, like in real life we would have a warning. You would see on the nightly news or whatever, this flu's coming to the US. So a little week leading up to it, the management team that would meet in the emergency operations center, and we would discuss, we've gotten a notification from the state that this is now the United States. And then we would say, oh, it's now New York State. And then on the drill day, it only took like an hour for the actual drill, but we said, okay, now we have a lot of patients showing up here. What do? We have to open up an alternative care site if it's too many people. Maybe we need to segregate those patients, so the people that are in for a stomach ache or chest pain, you don't want to intermingle those patients. So the policies spell out what you do in case of a patient surge, that would be called. So the policies are very important, but it's also important to constantly be updating those.
I'm sitting here and I'm going back into my world of being a superintendent, and I'm thinking, we had similar things in the event that we had a lockdown.
Right.
You don't remember everything. You pull out the policy, and it only takes a minute, and say, okay, I need to call this person, you need to do this, you need to go lock the doors, you need to but you got to drill it, right?
And the schools are drilling that now. They've gotten rid of the fire drill, some of the fire drill requirements, and replaced those with lockdown drills.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So Westfield Memorial Hospital is basically a rural hospital.
Yeah.
It's a very active hospital. But if you had a lot of people coming in there, you only got so much room. Right. So what do you do then?
We are part of a Western New York-wide mutual aid plan.
Okay.
So we can get on the phone and set the mutual aid plan in action. And we would, just as we have to now with several of our patients, we would triage the people and get them on to another facility. But if it was really something that we needed more staff or equipment, the mutual aid plan, it's the kind of thing where you can call and the person on the other end would set it in motion, so that we're not tied up calling all these different hospitals looking for help.
That's cool.
And they could bring us equipment, whether it's bandages, antibiotics, whatever it is we need. But also maybe we could get some more staff from some of those hospitals. Maybe they could send down a couple more nurses and a lab tech or two, or even a doctor. So, and it's the same thing if something happens somewhere else. Someday we may get a phone call saying something's going on in a the Buffalo area. And could you spare a couple nurses, because our nurses have been working 12 hours and getting 2 hours off, and
Yeah.
they're not getting any sleep.
Right.
We could really use some help here.
Wow. Well, you use the word triage. The only reason why I know triage is we watch MASH every night at our house. Could you describe or define triage for folks?
Well, there's regular triage, which if anybody's ever been in the emergency room, after you, assuming you're not acutely ill and need to go right in for a acute heart attack or something, you're normally taken to a small room. It may happen in the bed, and they'll take your vitals, your temperature, your blood pressure, ask you what's going on, and then that way they'll be able to decide what level of care you need. But there's also disaster triage,
Oh,
and that's a little more complicated. There's 4 levels, and like black is somebody that really is either dead or imminently going to be dead. And there's red, yellow, and green. And depending on the size of the incident, the black, sometimes they just have to be left, because if you're pulling resources away.
right.
So I would assume, like in Las Vegas, that's something that maybe had to happen, because you could lose 10 more people because you're spending so much time on someone that,
So there's really some heavy-duty decision-making
There is.
going on there.
yeah,
And you have protocols in place with your policies and the...
we have protocols, and I'm still working on a lot of them. It's like you said, I've got many jobs, and it's hard to get all these policies and protocols written, but basically they're there. But we really have to.
All right, so
fine-tune
somebody's
them.
deemed terminal, so then you move on to the red.
Well, you go to yellow and green.
Or what I mean is you
Yeah.
go to a different
You go to a
grouping.
different level,
Okay.
and you try to get people where they can. But I think basically the idea is to get as many people as you can and not get bogged down with one patient. And as cruel as that may sound sometimes, for the overall good,
Right.
you need to be able
Tough
to.
decisions.
Right.
Wow.
And so part of the protocols also has to be disaster mental health, because that can really affect the caregivers afterwards. In the heat of the moment, they may, be bouncing from patient to patient, but after it happens, that can really, first responders can really need some counseling and just some help getting through some of the hard parts. Even long-term they'll need it, but you may need people there. I know in Las Vegas, I heard also they had counselors right there on the scene as it was happening.
That's just so heavy. And I don't think people realize sometimes when they're in the middle of these things, and it doesn't even have to be at that scale, but they're in an emergency situation. It could be weather related, it could be a fire, whatever. Firemen, folks that are in the military, people that do this every day for their lives, for their jobs and so forth, that they're in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline's flowing, they do what they got to do, they don't even think about things, and then later on it's almost like the whole world comes crashing down on
Right,
them.
it's that adrenaline or whatever that
Holy
keeps them
moly,
going.
what did I just go through? And without going into great detail, I've had a couple of those experiences in my life where people have come up to me and said, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Why?" And it said, "Well, because whatever, you're exhibiting certain behaviors." And I had no idea.
It's, I suppose it's like the post-traumatic stress,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, exactly. Wow, you got a lot of work. You got a lot of responsibility.
And I'm still learning. I mean, you're constantly going to be learning, but like I said, I'm a lab person. It's a whole different language to speak, and it's difficult to wrap your hands around it, even me doing it. So I hope I'm at least explaining enough that people.
You're doing great. I'm fascinated by all this. Okay, so let's just say there was a situation. So I do know, for instance, Julius Leone, who is going to retire here very soon. He works with emergency services in the county. Do you work with the county?
We do have some contact with the county. That's one of my goals, not even just county, but village in the Westfield, to try and get some more contact there.
So the local fire departments
And the police department, those sorts of things, just so that we know who each other are. We'll recognize each other's phone when the phone call rings. We'll know who it is. We'll recognize each other's voice or face or whatever, because we've come up with a lot of policies and procedures, and I'm sure the police department, the fire department have, but we need to start integrating those together so that we can all work as one team. I mean, it's designed on some level that everybody will mesh together, but
Right.
we do need to
Keep it going.
Keep it going,
Refine it, refine it, refine it. Woo.
I do work with a group in Western New York, and all the hospitals in Western New York have representatives there. It's called the Western New York Healthcare Emergency Preparedness Coalition. And we meet quarterly in Chautauqua and discuss different things. We have presenters coming up with the latest and greatest. We discuss policies. We have several work groups that will develop procedures and protocols, and that's very helpful for someone like me, that we split into 4 groups, and about 10 people in each group will maybe write a policy and just have, a lot of times it'll say Empire Hospital.
Just make it
And
up,
then we
yeah.
can go through and then customize it to our facility, put the right phone numbers, put it for the size of our facility. It may not work what works at ECMC, but it's the same basic theory, just on a different scale. And then we also, that group breaks down into regions. In Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties, we have a regional meeting every
Okay.
3 months also. And
Wow.
we discuss what's of concern to us.
Just knowing that's there is making me feel a little better right now.
And it's not just the hospitals. We do have public health, Southern County Health Departments at the meetings.
Okay.
And first responders are there. And so we all do hear the same thing.
It's sort of an invisible network, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
all
there's a
there,
lot of
wrapped around
dedicated
us, and
people
we don't
to it.
even know it's there half the time.
It's amazing
It's-
the knowledge some of these people have, and I've really benefited. And
Where does the Red Cross come into this? Does it ever?
not directly. They have attended a couple meetings. They're more after the fact.
Okay.
They'll come and help. They may be, they'll provide housing or shelter. I'm not sure if they'll provide any of the psychological training, but there are other groups that will come in and speak to, like I said, the walking wounded or the first responder.
Right, right. I know, like in school systems, when we've had tragedy, somebody pass away or somebody get very bad or badly injured or whatever, without going into tragic details here, other schools will send their counselors to that school
Right.
for a period of time to work with the kids, because most schools just have so many folks that can do that sort of thing. So it's similar, sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's
All right.
something that I would call the state or my state representative and say, they would know what was going on. And they, just like the mutual aid, they would find the people to come down to help out. It wouldn't have to be that we'd be on the phone trying to find counselors.
Okay, the question just came through my earpiece is, how do you handle long-term disasters? And I'm not exactly sure what it would be, but let's take an example of Puerto Rico, excuse me. It's possible a hurricane could come through here, or certainly some deadly tornadoes. What would be your role in a long-term disaster?
Well, we do. Another policy that we have is called the Continuity of Operations Plan.
There you go.
And that's one of the work groups. That's what we're working on this year. And that's more of a long term. And we've got somewhat of a policy, but this work group will help us get a better policy. And it's when you have to make decisions as to when you cancel certain things, like elective surgery and things like that. But you also have to have the plan to bring everything back as soon as possible, because the hospital has to be to keep running. Has to keep the business end going too. So it's difficult if you shut any business down for a week.
So you flip some switches off and you flip some switches on, and when you flip that one off, you turn the other one back on again. It's sort of like a balancing act, I would assume. Okay.
So yeah, you do have to have the plan on how you come back up after the disaster as quickly as possible.
Folks, you're watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today is Ed Brooks, who's the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, and a bunch of other cool things at the Westfield Memorial Hospital, part of the Allegheny Health Network, and St. Vincent Healthcare Center. Hospital, healthcare, St. Vincent's Hospital. Well, whatever. It's a long term. They got all these titles. St. Vincent's Hospital. And if you want to give us a call at 753-5225, ask a question or you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, Ed, we're talking about disasters. We're talking about preparedness, and right now, looking at weather and unfortunately some real mentally ill people out there, and then some people that are whatever motivated for negativity. What are your concerns on the horizon? I don't want to say for Chautauqua County, but let's just say for Western New York, a bigger, broader area. Do you have any? Are there things out there that people are saying, this is coming up on our radar screen that we need to look at? And maybe there's things you can't talk about, and I understand. But are there any themes going on right now?
Nothing really specifically for the hospital. I mean, we are right next to a school, so that adds an extra dimension because schools and hospitals are two of the places that violent people tend to go. So that concerns us. We have the railroad tracks going through the back of our campus, and they carry all sorts of bad chemicals. So
well, we just had the spill, about a year and a half ago in Ripley.
And luckily nothing leaked there, but I mean,
could have.
It could have. And some of the things that are being transported right now are pretty scary. And Western New York has got a lot of trains going through carrying chemicals and some of this oil from the tar pits and all that.
So if something were to spill on a train track near the hospital area or in our region here, do you have protocols for that?
Well, our role would just be to get ready for patient surge. We're encouraged to have an all hazards approach. So whether it's an illness, mass casualty incident, we've got to be ready for a surge of patients.
So it doesn't really matter
So
what the cause is. It's we're going to get 25 people. We got to be able to prepare to get 25 patients right now.
Right.
Okay.
But we do what's called a hazard vulnerability assessment every year.
Wait a minute. Say that slower.
A hazard vulnerability assessment.
Oh, vulnerable. Okay. Okay.
And it's HVA. And the safety committee, it's a Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And it's got every kind of disaster, man-made, natural, or otherwise, whether it's from blizzard to tsunami, volcano. And then there's technological failures. There's man-made violence. And we put on the spreadsheet the likelihood that this could occur here.
So that's you're sort of answering my question in a way, yeah.
And then, but a tsunami, we'd put 0, obviously. But then we put the impact to our business or to being able to provide care. And there's formula somewhere behind the scenes, and it comes up with a number for each risk. And every year, our highest risks seem to be a winter storm event, some sort of mass casualty incident, an influx of a pandemic type of thing, influx of flu or something.
Yeah.
And but also utility failure. If we were to lose power or water, or more and more nowadays, our computer. We're getting so relied on computers in healthcare. And Palm Sunday morning, ECMC in Buffalo was hacked, and they were down for three weeks, basically.
3 weeks?
They had to go back to paper charts.
Holy moly.
They had to bring radiologists in to read the x-rays. Now, a lot of times, x-rays are read remotely over a computer, but they had to use x-ray film and have radiologists in the facility 24/7. And all the charts and everything, the lab reports, all reports were paper. And that's
I'm sitting here, my head is ready to blow up from just thinking about every time you just go in just for a normal checkup or whatever, and how much technology you use. Imagine somebody that's really got a lot of issues. I mean, wowzer.
You lose all their history there, but they couldn't bring things up, and they had to. But it also, like I brought before, you don't like to necessarily think about it with the hospital, but all their billing capabilities. After a while, the accountants are saying, hey, we got to start bringing some money in here.
Yeah, really?
And so they had to start figuring out how to charge and submit claims to insurance companies.
Oh my gosh.
And timekeeping was down. They had to go to paper time.
So they're back up now, I assume?
They're back up now. They learned a lot of lessons from that. Yeah.
All right, so what did you guys learn from all that? I mean, how do you feel you stand in Westfield?
Well, as part of Allegheny Health Network, they take a real strong stand on, we have to take training on phishing every year with a PH.
Okay.
Where you may get an email sent to your email saying, please respond, we have a problem with your account. Once you click on the link, a hacker can get in. And we get a lot of education annually, semi-annually. So it's not so much local that we don't really have the resources, but Allegheny Health Network is really on top of it.
It's somebody sitting in a foreign country tapping into your accounts over here.
And it can be frustrating to some extent. Our email filters are so tight, but they need to be.
Yeah.
But every day when I go in, I used to have 40 emails waiting for me. Now I have 4 or 5, and then I have one that is from the email filter, and I have to go in there and look to make sure
spam and-
they're not spam or some.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
So we really are trying, but
Yikes. Okay, we got about 4 minutes left. Is there a particular situation or story that you can share that, I don't want to say it was a success story, but something that stands out and says, this is how we did it and everything went really well?
luckily we really haven't been tested too much. We did, but we had to get ready for the Ebola a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you get a special shower or something?
Well, we do have a shower. We have all the the suits that people have to gown up in, and we were pretty successful with. It was tough to get things in because everybody was trying to get
Sure.
it. But we did have a patient that arrived when that was all going on, that was from Africa, was looking to go home, and
Gotta get checked out.
had a fever when he went to get on the plane, so they turned him away, and he came. We're not quite sure why he came to Westfield from the Buffalo airport. And one of our nurses, I just brought the memo over like an hour earlier saying this is what we need to look for. And one of our nurses realized this patient's travel history and everything matches what we should be looking for.
Wow.
So we got on the horn and called the Department of Health, and it was a couple hours. They reviewed and decided the patient had not been to the area that was affected. But I was really proud of our nurse for picking up on
Very
the fact.
good.
So we quarantined the patient and everything right
Followed
away.
your protocols.
Right.
Good. So hold on, we got a last minute phone call, so we'll try to squeeze it in real quick. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I won't talk long. This is Linda
Oh, okay.
calling. I just want to...
You got a call earlier.
I know it. Well, I was grooming my dogs.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I wanted to just make an announcement that this Wednesday, I believe October 11th, there's going to be a job fair at Jamestown Community College at the Student Center. It's sponsored and being put together by Chautauqua Works. And the hours are 9:30 until 11:30.
All right. And that's for senior workers?
For anybody. No, it's
Anybody.
a job fair for everybody.
Okay, cool.
Working or not working, looking for great opportunities. And the nice thing about the job fair that Chautauqua Works puts on, there are jobs that are, they have the businesses that are there have job openings now.
Well, terrific. All right, Lynn.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Okay, we got a minute and a half left. Went fast. I told you it was going to go fast, and you're doing a great job telling everything. So today I was watching TV, and they had a drone taking emergency medicine to people that were in tough situations. Are you doing anything with drones or that?
No,
type?
nothing
Not
like
yet,
that.
not yet.
No.
Soon, someday, in a
Yeah.
neighborhood coming to you. And what would you like people to know about the state of preparation that you do at Westfield Memorial Hospital and anything else that they should know? 'Cause we got to wrap things up here.
I would just say I work hard at it and throughout the whole United States, but I see right in Western New York, there's a dedicated group of people that are working to be ready for whatever emergency may come up. And I think we do a pretty good job at it.
Okay, so that would cover weather,
Weather, technological issues.
some type of pandemic, whether it's a viral type of thing, or hopefully never, some type of mass
Right.
injury of some sort or whatever. We talked about the trains and so forth. Okay, and again, if anybody has any questions about what you do, or they have a question about emergency preparedness, do they have a number they can call you at?
Well, they could call me at 793-2238.
Okay,
I'd be happy to-
2238. Got it. 2238. All right, and just ask for you?
Yep, that's my office, so leave a message for me if I don't pick it up.
Okay. Ed, thanks so much for coming on the show. I know you were somewhat like, I don't want to know about this thing, but you did a great job, and I feel better knowing that with the things that are going right here down the road at Westfield Memorial Hospital, that you guys are ready in case of anything happens, and we thank all of you for that. So folks, you've been watching Chautauqua Sunrise. My guest today has been Ed Brooks, the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator at Westfield Memorial Hospital, part of the Allegheny Health Network. We're going to do this all again next Saturday morning right here on XS5. Have a wonderful weekend. Get out there and enjoy all that Chautauqua has to offer here in the county. And take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.